So good morning, all. It's good to see you are from such sort of widespread places and also different backgrounds, right? I heard electronics and then mechanical, chemical, right? I'm I'm from metallurgical engineering and material science, so I don't think we have anybody from metallurgy, but in any case, right? Engineering is all, it's not compartmentalized eventually. But the thing that I wish to talk about is more, as Gayatri said, that it's more on innovation, and my talk is a little broad based. You will see as I go along. Also, a little bit in the direction of, more about what innovation sort of means, although it is nothing that you don't know. Okay, maybe it just offers a different perspective. Um, Also, just to say, just to add a few words, you are engineering college teachers, and so am I. There is always these discussions that happen about, particularly. I mean, I'm saying, for example, now, right? I mean, as of right now, when the JEE results are announced, almost, I don't know if you get calls. There are people who know you who give you a call saying, look, my son or daughter or so and so has got a JEE rank, and what do I make a choice of? So should it be electronics or chemical or mechanical? But the fact is, I mean, I'm just saying facts, and this is not part of the talk, but I'm just saying that all of us go through this, that these questions, should I take this branch or this institute? But at the end of the day, when I look at our students, about maybe, I don't know, about 80% of them don't become engineers at all. So sometimes I have this question to these people, that is your child wanting to be an engineer? First answer that. Then the question makes any sense, right? If you don't want to be an engineer, then maybe make a choice of some place you like. It doesn't really matter, right? Um, and with the way we are, I am part of the same society, that most of the people have a very similar choice. There are only exceptions. Everybody typically wants computer science, wants to study computer science. IIT Kharagpur, among IITs, there are of course other colleges, has agricultural engineering. Would you imagine that people would rush for agricultural engineering ever? I have not met anybody yet who would say, I was waiting to get into agricultural engineering. And then you hear all the other things, right? I mean, I'll show you some old data, but there is data that India, in terms of agricultural productivity, which is you measure it, right? So much kgs or tons of whatever crop per unit of land per hectare. If you see the data, we are way behind. I mean, like anything else, I'm sure agriculture needs modern techniques. One could just keep practicing, and how it has been handed over and over and over. I don't know how many engineers would be involved in actually agricultural practices in India. I doubt it would be a good number, because I know when I used to be in IIT Kharagpur teaching there, and I know that people from agriculture engineering, what kind of jobs they would get. Can you imagine? What is one of the best placement you can get out of agricultural engineering? And students were still happy about it. Pepsi, food processing. So how much contribution that will make to agriculture in India? Not sure. So what I'm saying is, these are questions I'm sure you encounter also, right? So engineering in India, I mean, no matter whether at IIT or elsewhere, I think it just somehow, sometimes I feel, okay, again I'll come to my talk, but sometimes you feel, being part of this thing, that okay, I don't know, are we not true to engineering? Why are we not true to engineering, you know? I remember, I don't know, each of you may have your experiences. Before my JE, I wrote my JE, I studied here. You know, you have a different romantic kind of feeling of science, technology, engineering, and you talk about those things, and you want to go to the engineering college and you are really excited about engineering. But as you go through engineering education, students also say it is not just me. You know, they undergo some transformation. I don't know whether it is societal influences, market forces. A lot of their decisions are influenced by pay packages, the first week of placement. So, you know, India, I saw that data somewhere that we produce about 10 lakh engineers with degrees. But I don't know how many do you think actually make it as engineers? I don't, that data is very hard to get. You can only get this, but you can estimate, I don't know whether even 10,000 make it, you know, or I don't know, maybe, but it's a not that great, it would be in minority. So, so there are lots of questions. I mean, maybe I will also raise questions in some sense through presentation rather than giving answers, which is I feel sometimes important to just think about, you know, because this course is right end to end innovation, I suppose. So, so anyway, I'll get going and you know hopefully raise questions in your mind also. And the last thing I want to say is, I feel whatever, you know, I mean, Professor Mahajani has already said couple of things that you can take back things. Hopefully, you can, you know, utilize some of these things in your colleges, keep interacting with IIT. So, in a similar way, I want to say that hopefully, you know, this is not just, you know, in a like a closed room and it kind of ends here. I hope it kind of spurs some thoughts in your mind which leads to something, maybe, right? So, I mean, I always keep thinking where to start, but this is one of the things I want to say that, you know, innovation, okay, everybody understands that word, but I feel sometimes that there is so much of a India specific context here, right? We are in this country, and so I always feel in one way, there are so many ways of looking at it, that is there, do you feel in some way that for the country, you know, with the scenario that we have, is there any urgency for innovation? Because, you know, otherwise we are going on about our lives, right? I have a job, you have a job, you get a paycheck or whatever, you have a salary which comes to your bank account, and in some way we are comfortable. But is there any urgency? Is there any need which is kind of, you know, which we should also feel at an individual level? That's what I mean. I mean, I'm not talking about policy, I'm not talking about prime minister or government and all that, that's different. Urgency. So, I want to take you through some slides which all of you know, again I am telling you, but it partly makes you feel, yes, there seems to be, or there should be a sense of urgency, you know, and every branch has a contribution to make, you know. So, I mean, these kind of news reports, this is not very old, somewhere, I don't know, yes, 2017, and these are things which have been reported in India and they continue, you know. Under 5 mortality rate in India, children who don't make it to age 5 is very large number in the country. And I mean, if you know look at the numbers, it's almost about close to maybe just under a 1 lakh, just slightly lower than 1 lakh children per month. I mean, then you can relate to about 80, 90,000 children die every month who don't make it to age 5. I mean, in a way, our lives go on. I mean, it's not affecting us directly, but it's a very, you know, serious kind of issue. And I don't know, have you ever come across something like this in engineering? Will you be working on something which is related to this? Or do you feel it's related to engineering or innovation? Definitely there will be things. It is just that many times I also feel that our education, engineering education and the reality, sometimes I feel there's a, there's a divide or there's a gap. Like how Professor Mahajani says that they spend a lot of time on problem identification. And over the years, I have also gone through the same education system. I realized that somehow, and I can tell you this, I don't know whether all of you have masters or PhD programs in your institutes, but I have PhD students here, master students. A lot of times when our PhD students begin with their PhD, the first thing is problem statement, right? Just like Professor Mahajani was saying, we spend a lot of time. So when we identify problem statements, or in the past at least, when we identified problem statements for our PhD students, we identified most of the time things based on review of literature. What is that literature? You know very well. Research literature. You have done PhDs. And the solution that came out, let's say, or whatever work we did was published in journals. I personally, to be honest, I'll tell you, most of my PhD students, I have already had 20 graduated or more. I don't think they have impacted life in general in India yet. Way, actually too far from it rather. They got a PhD degree, maybe they, got up, or they are looking for a position, or they, but it didn't help. Maybe there are people who do it, but what I am saying is a large number of times you find, at least a large number of times you find that these problem statements are academic. But it's our choice also. IIT doesn't restrict me in a way, or any academic institution doesn't restrict us to choose a problem statement which may solve a real problem. In fact, IIT Bombay recently has done away with the requirement of, earlier there was 2 publications were essential. Now they have removed that. Not that we want, you can still publish, but what I am saying is at least if you are working on a problem which may result more in a applied solution which you transfer to somebody, then you don't have that compulsion that, oh, you don't have publication, you can't get a PhD degree. So I find that, and in very recent times, like last few years now, I told people who were approaching me for PhDs, I said, I'm interested in taking students who would rather work on a product as a PhD, but you would, product meaning as in, let's identify a problem which somebody is waiting to get a solution for. So what I am trying to say is, that way the change can happen at an individual level. Policy making and all is too, one can think of it, but it's still distant, right? Whether it happens or not, it's not so much under our control really, but what we do individually is under control. So I find that sometimes, and there could be, I think, every department could have something to do with some of these problems, right? And I think our motivation has to be that, right? Engineering, if engineers don't impact human lives, sometimes I feel, why am I an engineer? Is it to, again, same thing, is it just that I got IIT degree or whatever and I got I have a good salary, I live in a nice beautiful campus, outside should not matter, it's okay. You publish papers, maybe you get some recognition, you apply for some awards, you travel abroad for conferences, it's a good life. But then why be an engineer? The similar thing could be, you could do it through other means. So, that's really very critical. And then the other major thing, it is well known, this country, we have so much of poverty even now. Now we are approaching 75 years of our independence. So we can't also keep citing the fact that we were all, subjugated or whatever under foreign rule. It's been quite some time. Um, and I almost always feel, I'll show you data where it makes it seem like it's actually engineers who have not delivered in the country. Doctors, there's no choice. You have to deliver. But engineers, I think, is the community which I feel has underperformed. I'm not saying we are not doing anything. Don't get me wrong, but I think we are underperforming way much lower. I sometimes have even heard nowadays some parents talking about this, that when you have to, in the olden, I mean, when I was a child, mostly you were pushed into one of these two things. मैं डॉक्टर बनेंगे या आप इंजीनियर बनेंगे, इन दोनों में से कुछ बन जाइए. So I have heard a few parents say, अरे मेडिकल की पढ़ाई 10 साल चलती है, वो मत सोचो, 4 साल में यहाँ करके पैसा आपको जॉब मिल जाएगा, सैलरी. तो but should that be a criteria? I don't know. Anyway, so these are kind of things, and yeah, I will show you data, that engineers are, I think engineers are greatly responsible for this issue. If we don't generate technology, how would we ever have increased manufacturing? How would we ever have employment generation? It's nothing, I mean, government plays a role, but it can only play a partial role. It is individuals, So I feel, looking at these things, that is when I said urgency for innovation. You always feel, how can I, like malnutrition, if you see, in general, about 1/3 of our children in this country are still malnourished, so to say. And I don't know whether you have you heard or have you known what is the impact of malnutrition on children? Anybody knows? Like if I ask the same question, let's say this is Germany, and I ask malnutrition, suna hai aapne? I doubt they have heard in the last 50, 100 years. Malnutrition kya hota hai? Yeah, I mean, I don't think, none of those European countries or the developed world, but we have 1/3 of children malnourished. Does anybody know what would you say about malnutrition?
There is a deficiency of nutrition.
When? That is very important. When? Can I be malnourished? I can be, but what matters most, I am saying?
This is growing age.
Which age, what would you say?
Maybe 10 to 16, 17.
10 to 16, 17 years.
The growth is fast, maybe.
Okay, what else? Anybody else has anything to say for malnutrition?
Not getting balanced diet means all the necessary nutrients required.
Do you know what is the consequence? Huh? Quasi-cere?
Some disease.
Oh, some disease. Yeah. See, it's not about, obviously we are not testing each other, but all I am saying is, I got interested in learning about this subject, and I realized it's, in whatever you said, there is much more than this. Malnutrition, the key thing in malnutrition is the first 2 years only. Right from conception up to till the child becomes 2 years, and they say that period is actually 1000 days. So they say first 1000 days, the 10, 16, 17, they say if first 1000 days is taken care of, that can be reversible and all, but first 1000 days is not reversible. It's not reversible, and that is where major problem in India is. It's unbelievable, and the kind of impact it has. We have all of her, some of you are maybe Hindi speaking, so I know Hindi, but if your language is different, you would know the word. There's a word called shrap, curse. If I tell you what malnutrition does, it's a curse. You are cursed for life. First 2 years, 1000 days, if you didn't get nutrition, you're cursed for life. Because I didn't know this, I was surprised when I got to know 80% of our brain, the physiological part of it, जो form हो रहा है, is already done by 2 years. First 2 years, your 80% of your brain is formed, right? So if you don't if the children don't have nutrition in the first 1000 days, first 2 years, brain is underdeveloped physiologically. It is not about how good or smart you are. Brain, जब आपका brain, neurons, वो जो cells वो सब बना ही नहीं है, तो where is the question of, if you don't put enough RAM or whatever in our computer, you can't say brand से कुछ नहीं होगा, है ही नहीं. And that's the sad part of those 1/3 children in this country. Imagine, just imagine, we talk about everything else, but 1/3 of your children actually don't have it. And this is only one aspect. The other thing is, these children when they grow up, they have very low immunity. Infection aaya to who will get it? These people. Chronic diseases will come to them. So it's a curse, and a lot of these children will happen to be. The chance could be otherwise also, but a lot of these children would come from poor families. Lack of awareness. So what happens? The other part of the curse is, cycle will repeat very likely, because if you are malnourished in first 2 years, your ability to comprehend concepts समझ नहीं आते, so they drop out of school. If they drop out of school, they will, throughout their life, they will not get any kind of proper job. They will be exploited in a way. When you get less money, work more physical, mostly physical work, it leads to frustration somewhere. There are people in Mumbai, can you imagine, doing 8-10 hours of work and getting 6,000 rupees, 8,000 rupees. क्या होगा, मतलब what nutrition, what will they do? But कभी कभी वो सब, my life is not that, na, and it ends there. But there, it should not end there. Is what? Otherwise, where is the point of being engineer or whatever, anything else? It doesn't really matter. Like Professor Mahajani said, it's for the bottom of the pyramid is where the thinking is required. I mean, if you have a watch or a phone, थोड़ा एक और feature आ गया, तो आपकी ज़िंदगी ऐसे नहीं हो गई कि wow, or some. But अगर 30% का, 33% का, 25% आ गया, तो actually there will be amazing impact on individuals and on the country both. So it's a curse to be malnourished, and it is known that if first 2 years it was not done, it is not reversible. That's even sadder part. So there is a group which I am part of where I am not very heavily involved. One of my students helped us to develop an app for malnutrition, because one of the major causes for malnutrition, there are more, major is lack of awareness. And it is so, sometimes you feel that's it, but that is real. People are not aware. But 1/3 of children in a country being malnourished is a very, sad state for the country. No matter whether, even if I would say, some people say, right, like electronics ke hain aap, to somebody will say, okay, we have never developed, India has not really developed any ICs, and we are left behind and all that. But I am saying that is still okay. Till this is solved, making IC will also not. IC तो फिर भी बाहर से आ रहा है ना, इनका ये क्या करें? And इसमें there is a lot of technology intervention that can happen, right? But मैंने बोला ना, it is true that a lot of times our PhDs, let's say, if I give a float a topic in my department on malnutrition and nanotechnology, you know what I am saying. हमारी जिंदगी में वो प्रॉब्लम्स की इम्पैक्ट ही नहीं समझ में आती. एंड डू यू नो, नैनो टेक्नोलॉजी, इवन इफ आई वर्क and publish paper in highly cited journals, would you see impact? I doubt that we will see impact in next 25 years or in this country. But you save one life, one child, at least that direct impact is there. So I think sometimes one is okay, my ability. Are we innovative? Are you innovative? Do you consider yourself as highly innovative? You can be, right? You can be, but what I am saying is, that's fine. We could be very smart, but did we make use of did we make use of that? It remains a question, and I am telling you, these are very serious questions, which I hope somewhere or the other, you make a decision. You have to have a decision in your own life where you can start impacting things. So there is a lot of, it's very serious. You have seen this news regularly, yesterday I was talking to a child, 6th grade child, and I said, which subject you like? He said, environmental science. So I said, okay, let's, talk about environmental science. So I explained, because he would not know, I explained what is air quality. And I said, how do you know how it's measured? Then just to show him, on the phone, I said, let's look air quality index of different cities. Yesterday. So Delhi, I think that PM 2.5 yesterday, it showed something 300 something. I don't remember the units, And I was sitting in Indore yesterday, and Indore was about 25. And Delhi, it said hazardous. I mean, the child didn't know what is the meaning of hazardous. I said, look, 300. Then I explained hazardous. And Indore was good, 25. And then I said, ऐसे let's look for London. World Cup चल रहा है, क्या air quality है? 34. And it showed good. I said, look, you are very lucky to be in Indore. Okay, that you are living in a city where air quality index is still good. But Delhi says hazardous, And I mean, I don't know, some of you would have seen those pictures that circulated when you have that particulate matter in air, the lungs have a deposit. Just imagine. And they also talk about how many years your life is reduced if you continuously are subjected to this. And I don't think those particulates go out very easily. The fine particulates that deposit in your alveoli, they don't go out easily. I don't know, I can't think of how they will degrade inside, or whatever else, and you can't extract them. So, look at this headline. Sometimes I feel and where are the engineers? How come we are spewing kind of all that thing into the environment? So don't you sometimes feel, कभी-कभी लगता है हम पढ़ा तो रहे engineering, but कर रहे नहीं है, engineering कर नहीं रहे. ये चीज़ें हो रही हैं, कहाँ, where are we headed? And it is not true for other countries, by the way. Every other country which is so to say developed, actually are using their knowledge. They don't have, London is a big city, 34, I am quite impressed. And I am sure every other western city, even if they are large cities, they are not 300 something, Delhi was yesterday. So, my point to your question is, yes, I may be smart, I may know what is innovation, you will learn, but like Professor Mahajani said, are we making a choice of that problem? Or we'll choose, you may not get publication in every one of these. You can if you want I always say publishing is actually easier than trying to solve some real, problem. Solve a real problem. And I think it requires some daring and whatever, that you start to make a choice of some such problems. Right? So this is real. These kind of pictures are terrible to see. Why should we be living like this? I don't know, it's terrible. And that is all related, it says India bears 32% global burden of respiratory diseases. It's too large. 32% for the world, it's crazy. We have to say then, there are no engineers around. Where are the engineers? There's no engineers. We have only people with degrees. There are no practicing engineers. Otherwise, how would we let that happen? So, children are, yes, cities. Sometimes you also feel how much of each of them is protecting, these children. You tie a handkerchief, does it ensure that what is the gap between your whatever, even here, I mean, if you think about it, what's the gap and what is the size you are talking about? 2.5 micron if you talk about, and the gap, I mean, it is 100 times maybe. Where is the question of, it's not so easy. That requires a huge engineering intervention as well. This is, I was just seeing while I was sitting there, just yesterday's news in Ahmedabad, 7 people died yesterday. Every month you can read, manual scavenging, every month, doesn't change. I mean, look, we are 21st century and every time the story reads the same. Just now I read sitting there. In a hotel, some people went to clean the septic tank in Ahmedabad Vadodara. One guy went, he never returned. Another guy thought, kya ho gaya, went. Like that, 7 people went one after another. Nobody came back. All in their 20s. I mean, यहाँ तो value ही नहीं है ना, value, where is the value? People die and they talk about then compensation and finished. After a while everybody has forgotten. If you see the developed world, any time you have lived there, one death if it happens, no, it will just fake, meaning completely there will be alarm bells buzzing and it will change something for sure. They would not let it happen again. This is every year, every month you see people. Sometimes you also feel that there is just lack of education also. I mean, at least in that news item I read, that guy seems to have made a choice. He had an option to call for a machine, he chose people. But that's also a problem. If people are not educated and they don't understand a life and a machine, the news said that he was trying to save 2000 rupees. Machine would have cost 5000 and 7 people are killed just for saving 2000 rupees. What kind of a country are we living in? 2000 rupees or 7 zindagi. You get totally surprised. Kya hai ye? So sometimes when you hear this, you feel like, all this nanotechnology and all high tech. Abhi piche jaane ka waqt. First you go back, then you come again to the same place maybe. First you figure out, solve some simpler problems. I suppose if couple of people got after this, they will solve it convincingly and then maybe, I don't know what, something else also. So this comes to the education part, This is, it says half of the 5th grade pupils cannot read a story designed for 2nd graders. You may say it's not about my children. Yes, I agree. It may not be about your children, but it is about India. There is enough of this. Our education is not great, right? There is another theme to this, that look, I like working with children, I meet children, and one of the questions you want to always ask, everybody ends up asking is, Arey, kya karoge bade hoke? Right? This is a common thing, you go home, you meet some children of your, friends, relatives. The answer that I am hearing the least these days is, I want to be a teacher. किसी को teacher नहीं बनना है, कोई नहीं बनना चाहता. I don't know what's the reason. That means teachers are not being impressive enough. I'm still always saying the trends. There will be always good people, there will be always exceptions. But if you look at, I interact with lots of children always, but none of them want to be a teacher. So imagine a country where nobody wants to be a teacher. We won't eliminate schools. Schools will still be there. So people who finally teacher post would be vacant maybe and nobody wants to be a teacher, so somebody will become. So whoever didn't find anything else can become a teacher. Maybe, I don't know. This is what I find, that's what the trend seem to be. Right? So there are lots of challenges with education itself. And I see most of the developed world, if you ever visit, they have such great emphasis on early years of education. They have on higher, that's okay. But what I am trying to say is, they have equal or more emphasis on early years, because that's where everything, right? 80% of brain is formed in first 2 years. I've tried to read along on those lines. I was talking about nutrition as in physically what a child is fed, but many times people don't realize the more stimulus a child gets in the first 2 years, the more it spurs the growth of brain. But otherwise many times you will see, अरे दोस्त 1 साल का बच्चा इसको कुछ नहीं समझ में आएगा इसका क्या. But the psychology should be entirely reversed. You need the child in the first 2 years itself, if given sensory inputs, through touch, smell, whatever, all our senses, the brain is going to grow better and you are going to produce smarter kids, for sure. So there will be a correlation with poverty. Or when you are poor, the parents may be working. Both parents may be working and working whatever excessively physical labor, they are tired. Would they have time to really provide sensory inputs to their child? They may just see the same thing over and over again. How do you expect them to be brainy and smart? So, I mean, so many things, right? This is that data. I told you it's old. I found, but I doubt that the numbers may have moved. But if you see, it says 100 kgs per hectare in wheat. UK shows some 80, right? And we were at 27, and I don't know, I should look up newer data, but it is not surprising to me. Like we had the discussion, where are the people? Who do you think is actually intervening here? I don't think there is that much. There must be some, but I think there can be much more done here as well. So I want to show you some, this was one aspect where I was trying to, and this list is very large actually. I have just chosen a few where I am trying to show you that look, things which will have direct impact on people, and there are so many other things in the same domain, right? Like in healthcare, there is a lot of needs in India in healthcare. Just now, I don't know whether you know this, but there is a program, there is a department called DBT in the Indian government, Department of Biotechnology, and they have a scheme called BIG. Have you heard of this? Biotechnology Ignition Grant, and they give you 50 lakh rupees as a grant. Grant is different than a loan, right? So you get that money and you can use that money to build your idea, and you don't have to return it, and they let companies apply for it. So imagine if you have an idea which is in healthcare, and if you have students or yourself or whoever, if you want to have a startup and you want to take this idea further, but it must be at a level where you already made the prototype. So it can't be to now try out idea. You have already done the initial work, you have a prototype, you want to take it to a stage where you can possibly commercialize, take it through a pilot level, they give you 50 lakh grant. It's the only scheme I know in India which gives you decent money as a grant. So I met one professor who's in that committee. He was just telling me today that you should let people know, and maybe more and more people, if they can make use of it. So that's more in healthcare. But anyway, I want to bring your attention a little bit to research and economic development from that theme that all of us do research, right, in some or have done. And like I was trying to tell again and again, does it have anything to do with economic development? Okay, that connection. So I just said, remember a while ago, but anyway, first let me just mention this, that India in terms of research, measures of research, we are not too bad. At least this data shows, okay, this is what 2018, India is among world's top 10 nations in many things, right, publications, patents filed and all that. But they say, look at this statement, however, whether this knowledge is translated into growth rates remains to be seen. So you can have all these numbers, like when you go for promotions, they will ask you, right? I don't know whether in your institute, but a lot of institute, they look at how many papers you published, how many patents you filed. But if they asked something else, how much of economic impact or how many lives it impacted, that is, I don't know, they never ask, just how much you published. So, I mean, that's the same question here, right? Now, I want to bring you to only one, okay. Sometime back I told you, right, if I pitch nanotechnology versus something else, I don't know, a machine for manual scavenging, so I don't know whether people mostly people get attracted to these trendy topics. And in India, I think see, it says here in 2007 they launched a mission on nanoscience and technology. India had a mission. Have you heard of this before? So they gave 1,000 crores for it in 2007, and then they followed it up. Once that whatever 5-year period was over, they followed it up. I think they gave another 650 crores later on. So it is, two of these grants, I mean, two of these mission mode projects together put in 1,650 crores for the researchers, which is, I think, a lot of money. I mean, even if you convert and look at it as, dollar terms, it's very large, some $250 million or something, quite large. But the thing is, whatever happened, I mean, and many of us have actually experienced it here, it didn't result in India's leadership in terms of nanotechnology based products. Yes, it resulted in a lot of publications, there is no doubt about that. But you get my point, right? Almost similar questions like I raised earlier, that it didn't result in a direct impact, even on the economics, okay. So that was one part. The other part I wanted to show you was that I have intentionally, hidden the name, but in solar cells, among the new materials that are being evaluated, there is something called perovskite, okay. And this is one of the most researched areas in the current, as of now, lot of publications, lot of journal articles appearing. One of my colleagues, so I have hidden that name just to not bias you, or one of my colleagues is a leading figure in this area, in the country at least. He has published very high impact, publications or papers in very high impact journals. So I once had a small conversation with him. A lot of people believe that this is something which is going to be the future, these perovskite solar cells. So I said, what do you see, what's coming up, what's the future for our country? So, well, partly he was joking. His first thing he said was, look, he was doing well, right? So he said, I'll get promotion. That's the first thing that will happen, as in that impacts him. And then he went on and said that if this becomes commercialized, we will still import. So I am saying this, sometimes when you hear this, again, you don't feel, it raises more questions, right? If I am a leading figure in some field, and if I still have a feeling that, okay, maybe it still will, you'll still be importing this kind of devices in the country. I know these questions are quite complex, and what he says I am not saying that it is only upon him, but this is what I am saying is reality in so many things. I will show you, I don't remember if I have another slide. You know what are OLEDs, right? Organic light emitting diodes. Now these are out in real, there are so many whatever TVs or mobile phones which use these. I just put up, okay, don't take it as personally, as in I am not trying to put something on any specific person, but look, this group, Indian group, has published in a good journal. 559 citations is a big deal, okay. I don't have any paper yet with 559 citations in my 20 or whatever odd years of research. It shows that it's a very good journal article, that people are citing so much, and there are others. So what I am saying is there are Indian groups in OLEDs publishing, this is 2011, now it's 2019. What do you think? Where are we in OLEDs as a technology or manufacturing? How many years later will we be able to manufacture OLEDs? I don't see it happening. Honestly, I don't see it happening. Maybe somebody will make some sudden breakthrough or whatever, but I don't see it. So are you seeing, I mean, it's the same thing everywhere, right? I may have the best journal paper, but I am not able to convert it to any economic benefit. And it's not about just us individuals becoming richer. If you don't have economic benefits, the country doesn't gain, then you see what all goes around, right? So I am constantly saying this also because all of you, when you do research of any kind, you have choices to make. You can make a choice of doing something which will never see the light of the day. Oh, journals में वहाँ, you know, I can be happy when 500 citation है, 600, बस खुश हो गए. उसको थोड़े दिन बाद देखो, अच्छा कितने citation बढ़ गए? ओ 700 हो गए. But it's okay, right? After a while, आदत हो, you know what to do with it. So that's what I am trying to say, that this is a question to be asked very seriously when we make choices. This is actually, I put the names as in this person was my BTech project guide. He is retired, he is not in IIT Bombay now. Very nice person, very good researcher. And when I was a BTech student, that time superconductivity was just like nanotechnology. Everybody wanted to do superconductivity. So I ended up going to him and saying, look, I want to do a project. And when you are, the younger you are, the more, you know, glamorous things maybe attract you. So, okay, so I went and I did some project. So what he told me when I met him after I had been out from IIT for whatever 15 years or so, I came back and met him one day and he said कि हमने बहुत publish किया, you know, magnetism superconductivity में, but कुछ हुआ नहीं उसका. Nobody used it in India. And he said maybe people abroad used it and made something and maybe we bought that same thing from abroad, but nobody used. So he made a decision. He changed his field. He stopped, I mean, majorly. He reduced his activity in superconductivity magnetism. He was a physicist working in materials and he started working on Ayurveda. That is the decision he made. Obviously, he had challenges finding students then. PhD student wanting to work on Ayurveda with a physicist. He found problem statements and he did, I think maybe, I don't know how many, maybe at least I would have seen at least 1 or 2 PhDs when sort of I kind of came back and met him. But this is just to illustrate to you that look, either we will continue and we will not ask a single question and I can spend my life and when I retire they will say, you know, this is common, when people are retiring they will, you know, okay, you have the person here and they will come out and read. This person has published 500 papers, authored so many books, this. But that part is still missing. I am not saying to degrade, I mean, sort of, I am just saying you can have a different imagination. It could, the same profile hopefully, I mean, maybe it could have read that it impacted so many lives, it created so many jobs, whatever, right? So that is why I said research and economic development I think should be connected. They should be. And in a country like India, if we don't ask, see, if I am living in Germany or United States or somewhere and I say, oh, I published so many papers and all that and I pursued a lot of scientific things, it's still quite okay, but look at the Indian context. Then I have some data, economics of innovation, I am just calling it, you know, you will see what I mean by that. Because see, economics plays a part eventually. If you are a poor country, you see, right, now look at how much influence China is exerting in everything. The main reason is their money. The main reason is their money. I am not saying they are doing good or bad, that is a different discussion. But they are exerting their influence everywhere. And the other thing is, okay, who care, maybe I don't know whether we care or not, but what I am saying is for sure, malnutrition in China must be down. Poverty levels must be down. So at least human lives are also impacted for their own citizens, for sure, right? If you travel abroad, the largest number of tourists now, I am not saying that is the best measure, I am just saying they have so much money, they are everywhere. Conferences if you go to, they are the largest participants. I mean, they outnumber all. But finally, everything will translate into benefits for their citizens. So I have this data, I think this is old, 1 year old. This is called balance of trade. You know, balance of trade is the difference between export and import. And to me personally, I find it's very important. You know, you may say, we are engineers, who cares about balance of trade? But I think it does show a lot. Balance of trade, this difference of import and export almost can tell you something about the country, right? So, if you see this July 2018 is for China 1 month, 1 month. This is negative, can you see that's negative, that's positive. Positive means export is more. This is $28 billion because this is 100 million, so this is $28 billion. If you take an average, let's take average maybe more than 20, but let's take an average of $20 billion a month. $250 billion for 1 year. 250 into 7,000, how much is that? 7,000, 70,000. How much is 250 into 7,000? I think some 1,75,000.
It's about 75 followed by 5 zeros.
175 followed by
5 zeros. So 1.75 crore.
So that crore, you know what I mean, like it's a mind-boggling number. They have that much surplus, 250 billion US dollars of surplus every year. I mean, it's unimaginable actually, I don't know. Look at this small country, South Korea, $7 billion. It's a very tiny country, 1/3 of Maharashtra, something like that. $7 billion, again you multiply 12, 5, 50, $60 billion, $60 billion would be 50,000 crores. 50,000 crores of a surplus for that chota sa country, you know, and that's surplus. Okay. And like that, you know, every country, Japan, okay, some negative, but we know Japan has been doing well overall. Taiwan, again, very small country. Look at what happens for India. Every month you are bleeding. Every month, right? $18 billion negative. Just the inverse, mirror image or whatever. You know, negative every month. Imagine. So put it all together now for the country for 1 year. And it's, I mean, I don't know, you can check any time on Google, it will show you what is that balance of trade for that month. I feel every Indian citizen must at least see it, notice it once. And engineers must notice it more closely. When you see this data and it's negative, and when you see, let's say Germany, 21 billion euros, 21 billion euros. Again, Germany is quite small country. Okay, population though, I don't know, it will be like really tiny. So per person that surplus that they have would be too much. 21 or 22 billion euros. What is your impression of Germany? When you hear of Germany, what comes to your mind? Huh?
World War.
World War? Okay, yeah, that is one. Sure. But you know, World War, and you go there and you hear all this and you see the destruction that they went through. And if you see, you get surprised. They put the pictures like how they looked like after World War. And then you get amazed. But what I meant is, you know, as a child, I remember growing up hearing Germany, engineering, you know, you always heard engineering. But what I am trying to say is, that's why if you see all these countries, whichever country I put up, everywhere if you see, South Korea, very strong in engineering now for sure. What does it tell you? Then you translate that same for this country. Engineering is very weak, I feel, because balance of trade can't be decided by doctors. I mean, or rather their thing, or artists or lawyers, they are not going to impact balance of trade. Lawyers are not going to export their advice, or, you know, doctors are not really going to consult abroad or so much. If they want, they just go there. So it doesn't change our balance of trade. Balance of trade change impact can only come from engineering, I feel. I mean, majorly. Yes, you can always keep exporting your sand or whatever, but that is always, I mean, that actually is worse for you because you end up exporting raw materials and then you buy at a very high value the same thing. So you actually hurt yourself in a way. So balance of trade is, I feel, very, very reflective of engineering, and we are not able to do very well. Engineers are responsible for this entirely.
I think, sir, along with the data of the balance of trade, we should also look upon the balance of payment.
Balance of payment. What is, I mean, how does it?
I mean, the deficit between the generation of the money within the country or coming from outside and borrowing from outside
Okay.
institutions.
Okay.
I think the most of the European countries have very huge burden on the balance of payment.
Oh, they have debt, you mean?
Yeah. They are,
Is it?
They are growing, but they are more in the burden of the debt.
Possible. Because when in most industries they grow by borrowing, right? No, I agree. Only thing is, I don't know about Germany so much. I agree, a lot of European nations have this issue. But Germany has remained a sort of a, Germany has a very big borrowing, is it? From outside?
From IMF, from World Bank,
Okay.
from so many institutions.
Okay. I was not aware. I'll look into that.
So
Yeah.
these data is also very important.
Okay.
Actually, India, what is the thinking of India is always trying to play in a safe zone. So there is a mentality also.
So you mean to say that we don't borrow so much as
We don't borrow, we don't want to be liberal so much.
Yeah, I mean, well, till 90s it was even worse, then things kind of improved. But I'll tell you, for sure, okay, maybe you are saying it needs to be reinterpreted, but at the same time, the other fact is very, very clear that if you see, you look at the things that we use in this country, everything that you can think of, everything comes from outside, right? So there is, I mean, that economics part needs to be thought about as in how to completely interpret it. I will take a look at it, but still that thing remains true, that you don't, like, whatever I've been saying, you don't see things being translated, very little of it getting translated. So anyway, I don't know why, but for example, if you travel to, all these countries, you find that this is not an exaggerated picture, they look sort of like this, So whatever be the, when you say, whatever be the real economic interpretations of it, the poverty levels are low, human lives are important, they are safe, secure. So the end result is, I don't know, I mean, the entire picture is very difficult to interpret, but the end result is way, way better than what you find here. Even in economies which are not doing so well in Europe, because maybe they were ahead that early, on, and even now. And in India, I mean, we know that, things are not great. I mean, this may be slight exaggeration, but things are not great, Somebody told me that even in China, when I have not been to China yet, but somebody told me that you go visit China, one of the best buildings, so to say, it's more symbolic, that you would see in a village is a school. So I am saying that is very symbolic. If I value it, then I am going to make it the best thing. But there are enough schools like this in the country, enough. I mean, this is not even an exaggeration, this is just normal for the country. So where is the value we are putting on education then? And I don't know, I mean, so good you pointed out, but still it still only raises more questions to me, that how do you figure it out all? There is no doubt in my mind about this, that if you made an innovation today, whatever your innovation, and if today you are able to sell it all over the world, we are doing better. I mean, if we have that trend, we will do better as compared to having to import. I mean, this discussion is already there, right, in the media or whatever. How much is our electronics import bill? Huge. I want to use it, but I am not able to make it. So that kind of question will always remain. So these are trends anyway, so maybe I can skip it, but overall, all countries have been upward and India is just, sort of going down, okay. This was something, GDP, India was 655 per capita GDP, China was 132 in 1960, and Korea was also not that ahead, but in 2015 they have gone dramatically high. I was in Korea, I asked them, what's your daily wage? They are expensive, much more expensive than China. Daily wage in Korea, they said, was about $80. I was surprised, but it kind of matches, you look at their GDP, per capita GDP, so it's unbelievable. Then I always come up to, in the same spirit of things, I always ask, when you think of mass impact innovations, we are talking about innovations, mass impact, as in which has impacted large number of people. Can you think of anything which is a mass impact innovation, which was conceptualized, designed, developed, made in India and sold all over the world? Do you know of anything? I have never been able to find anything yet. But that's not true for, the other sort of developed world. See, and when I say this, don't take it otherwise, as in I am not saying this that we are inferior. Are we inferior race? I mean, are we?
We are doing good outside the country.
Agreed. But unfortunately that doesn't show up in all of this. It will not, it shows, I know those, what do they call it? Some bank transfers and all, but eventually, that it doesn't directly change social indicators so much. Even if I go, move to the US and I do well, it doesn't impact my poverty levels so much here, or the malnutrition or so, whatever else we talked about. But what I am saying is, none of us would agree that we are an inferior race. Everybody is maybe, if not superior, inferior, we are all capable. But then 130 crore people in this country, we don't have any one thing also. I am not even able to find one thing which, it's like saying Germans are queuing up to buy a product made in India, or Americans are waiting outside stores, look, this product is launched from India, made in, I want it, I am kind of, one product, we don't have. I am not saying we won't have, right now we don't have. Maybe we are sort of waking up to all of these things. Maybe we will do better and better as we go further. It is known that 300 BC India was a pioneer in steel making, it's documented. But that is still 300 BC, meaning it's quite, can't really, we can be happy, but only, you have to think, because see, 21st century, very, very difficult. Small things I always consider, Abhibi, just yesterday when I was sitting with some other kid, and this kid was just finishing 10th standard and looking at choices, what to do, and I just took out my pen, and it so happened, only coincidentally, it was not intentional, that was a ad gel or some pen, it said made in Japan actually. So, it is small things. Stapler pin box always had under license from Japan. So, lots of things, which have not really happened. Yeah, this is the same, the advertisement, ad gel, okay, and it very nice advertisement. I like to use it in my class because it's very technical also. It talks about tungsten carbide, this is, see here it says made from tungsten carbide, only second hardest material after diamond and all, but look what it says here, a result of Japanese research and German engineering. So, small things, right? I don't think that ballpoint pen roller is made in India yet, and I've been saying this, I know I'm not doing that part, but I've been saying if somebody decides to put up a factory one day on ballpoint pen rollers, the guy will be very rich. Because imagine how many pens, you have to make only 10-20 paisa per ball, that roller to become rich. Anyway, so these are these are more, I always address these more towards students, but you would agree, I think, in lot of things, innovation potential, it doesn't really depend on degree or education. It's nothing to do with degree or education. If that was the case, IIT Bombay would be, anyway, I don't, not that IIT Bombay has also so many innovations coming, right? it can be any, innovations can come from anywhere. Right, and I always feel, like when I think of myself having grown up in the same system, almost always what prevents us from being innovative, I think it was just my attitude. I just didn't have that attitude for being whatever it takes to be innovative. And there's enough potential. This country, we have seen all that data, whether, even though you say balance of payment, but still I would say all data tells you that there's sort of so much potential. This Professor Mahajani has already said, and I think this is one of the most important things I feel in terms of that, the whole cycle of innovation. That ability to identify most pressing problems that need to be solved and things that need improvement. And I think I have tried it enough. I am telling you also, this is the hardest part. I can give you one very quick example that some of my students who are trying to build a product, they are part of a program from IIT Chennai which is called Incubate. And this is all about, trying to promote whatever entrepreneurship and innovation. And so there were 11 teams in that program, and I just sat through some part of it. And one of the exercises they were doing was that the organizers would say, they would call the team and they would say, we'll ask you a few questions quickly and you'll get 10-15 minutes and answer those questions. The first question that the person was asking was, what is the problem you are trying to solve? Believe it or not, 11 teams, and it's not that they have not spent time working on whatever they are doing. They didn't start just yesterday. Maybe a year, 1.5, 2 years, they struggled with that answer. It was interesting to see. Nothing, I'm not saying, it's just a fact, they struggled with the answer because the answers they gave, and when the person probed further, they realized that they had not ended up solving a real problem yet. Some people had the answer and heading towards, what we are trying to do will be little cheaper. But they said that's not a problem, it's still available. I mean, we can discuss that separately, but are you solving a problem? And that was very interesting to hear and to learn that it's not easy to come up with a problem. So that is why it becomes so important. That is why Professor Mahajani said, right, that in the process that he showed, so much of emphasis has to be there. This is of course even more difficult. This is like the ultimate of, if you can't do this, then you can't imagine doing this. You can you identify new needs, unmet needs? And I always have felt that the day I will be able to find, I will immediately want to. I mean, in a room full of people, maybe if we can come up with 5-10 ideas, we will certainly start a few companies. This is very difficult, I think. But anyway, like everything is doable. So I have reproduced a statement from a company called 3M. Have you heard of 3M? 3M is considered again one of the most innovative companies, and they have this statement, very nice statement, that taken from this book that they have, the 3M story, when they've completed 100 years of their company's existence. Solving customer problems from across oceans and continents played a major role in how innovation flourished, right? So this is one, solving problems is really critical. And the most important innovations responded to unarticulated needs. Nobody asked for those and they came up with it. And that led to some of their best innovations. This anyway I have put up, this is an example I like always, that everybody knows about it, right? All of you know, I have used it at my home, and you talk to people and it's everywhere now in the country, huge. Nowhere I see, maybe there are some, I don't know if some locals things have been made, but one day we were just sitting and doing a casual estimation, and this turns out, if you estimate how much of it is sold in India, it comes in the tune of 2 to 300, some few hundred crores का Scotch Brite बिकता है. Because I asked some child कि आपके घर में यूज़ होता है, and this is a child from a low income group community. They say, sir, करीब 100 रुपए का एक साल में यूज़ करते होंगे. We said we estimated India has 25 crore families, assuming a size of 5 on an average, 5 per family. There could be slightly more. Out of 25 crore families, we only assumed that 20% use, 5 crore families use. 5 crore families 100 rupees a year, 500 crore. बट जब आप स्कॉच ब्राइट को देखेंगे तो आपको कभी नहीं लगेगा ये 500 करोड़ बिकता है, 500 करोड़ रुपए का स्कॉच ब्राइट बिकता है. एंड आई डोंट नो 3M, so if they earn 200 crore on it, I mean this could be high margin product, no, you never know. I mean, so if 200 300 crore from Scotch Brite goes to US, good, no, they'll build some good beautiful looking public libraries and nice roads and whatever else, you know, build some good transportation infrastructure or whatever. So, but you know, none of us, I mean, here I have thought many times in IIT, for example, would anybody do research on something like this? Same questions. This is not worth researching. If it is not worth researching, I will never make it also. I mean, I am saying this only as an example, I am not saying just this, but something like this. Are you going to think of kitchen as a problem statement? Anybody? We will not. Typically, I am saying. If we will not, then, and I doubt, I don't know how many Indian companies are looking at kitchen as a problem statement, maybe some, but even then I think most of them are borrowing technology from outside. But this is just an example that way. See, 3M is the real name of 3M is this. Started in 1902 with mining and selling abrasives. Didn't look so impressive that time. Just simple things, you know. Mining, selling abrasives. Look at what they do. This is crazy. This is the range, you know, they do everything. You name every branch, they will cover. Every branch, every domain almost they will cover. Whether it is electronics or whatever, you name it, they do it. 2 lakh crores revenue, I think this is 2-year-old data, 32,000 crore profit. When you have 32,000 crore profit, would you make newer things or not? You would flood the, you know. And I know all these companies have, I don't know the statement about 3M, I had a statement from another company, Corning. Have you heard of Corning? It's $1 billion, several billion, yeah, 10, I don't know, $15 billion kind of company. I heard their CTO in 2006 maybe saying this, and I was surprised, this type case statement. They say every year we come up with, no, every 5 years we come up with at least one innovation which will go to $500 million sale. Every 5 years, and many companies have these statements ki last 5-year turnover is, or so much percent of last 5-year turnover is from products which have been developed more recently. I mean, I am not expressing it well, but what I am trying to say is most of these companies have such a rapid pace of innovation that their large percent of turnover starts coming from newer products. 32,000 crore. Meaning I am impressed with the fact that that's your power to do things, that's your power to make, you know, value, generate value. Samsung 2014, old data, look at revenues, 200 billion US dollars. R&D spending 13 billion, 1 year, 90,000 crores. Nobody can imagine in this country 90,000 crores being spent per year on R&D. See, the point is output will be proportional to input. If you have no input, what is the output going to be? And we have really no input in that sense. Where is the input? 90,000 crore cannot be imagined, okay. This is old data, I couldn't find newer data. In India, it's not easy to get somehow these kind of data, but R&D spending of 100 biggest, 100 all put together. Reports 11,500 crore, this is 90,000 crore. And when I show this, people say, and I also feel, this is not real. This is also for tax saving. In India, companies will show revenue, I mean spending on R&D for tax saving. So what's the real spend on R&D? Don't know. Anyway, I forget all this, but I like this statement. I want to bring your attention to this. If you think about this a bit, we don't have this in India so much. We have the contrary mostly, right? We are not very good in teams. I mean, that remains a fact, or there's a lot of thing about taking credit, right? So they are saying, look, if people were more realistic and more true to the cause, and if you didn't care who gets the credit, then you will do bigger things. But many times you see situations where the real cause, the real thing is just lost. And I always joke that Ronald Reagan wrote it for India maybe. He thought, okay, Indians should benefit from my statement. So think about it. I like this statement a lot and I feel I should or we should kind of absorb this spirit, Anyway, so I'll try to go faster. So I say, okay, all of this story is fine. Where do we start? So one of the things is, you will hear this in the next couple of days that you are spending here more and more, right? This is the best, this is the place where to start. And like I said, I think we should choose problem statements which are not necessarily to do with only publication potential. Okay, we should do more. So I'll skip this. If you like, please visit this website. Titan has started a competition called Design Impact Awards. Very nice, trying to spot innovations. Design Impact Awards, you can take a look at this website. This is something you would have read, some Kerala, there's a group which was trying to do make a robo for this manual scavenging and things like that. But my point is, there on this website you will see a lot of these innovations listed which will directly reach people, may impact lives, so that you can go through yourself. I'll come to the next part. A lot of times, and this has remained a debate, at least even for me, that is import substitution good? And there are people on both sides of it. Some people say, no, it's not worth, that's not an innovation, and partly that's true, it's not innovation. But at the same time, in the scenario that we think about, I think this makes an impact also. You can make an impact by import substitution. So that, we have tried, we actually have a project, I have a project from Tata Center where we are trying to make this product. You see these things, these lines, these are all silver paste. And that is what we are attempting in our lab. And it's a good amount of, in terms of the value that gets imported in India is quite large. So if we can make it, I feel, even though there may not be an innovation, but if I ever made a business out of it, as in our students are interested, they will, when they see the money, if they see some, profits, margins, I'm sure they should not just sit there and not do anything else. They should make newer things then. So it can lead to other things, okay. And there used to be this website, but regardless of website, the data on import is available freely. Sometimes I felt that we as faculty members should look at this data and say, look, where are the highest imports? Does it fall in my area? So that can be a one approach to looking at things. This is my last part. This is not so technical. As you can see, I share some, some thoughts, just if you can go through this with me. So how to find endless inspiration, as in, I have to be inspired, right? Otherwise I will shut down. Okay, I became a professor. Now I don't need to work harder. I got my promotion. There's no more promotion. I just sit there, nothing to do. But I must remain, somehow I must keep doing, right? So I say, okay, to remain endlessly inspired, it's not the money, even though I have shown money, but I don't mean money. So what I mean is, like I always tell this kind of a story, make it in a story form. I say that, look, when you were all born, okay, I had, let's say, plenty of money, and I meet people and I just want to present them a bank account with a certain deposit when you are born, and that amount that I will deposit is this 29,200. And I like to say, just as only a hypothetical story, that look, I had deposited 29,200 rupees in your bank account when you are born, but I am putting a condition that you cannot do any work in your life for payment. I already gave you money. And you will not earn interest. Can you live your entire life on 29,200 rupees? You can't, right? Most people, no, I can't. Then I say that, okay, look, this was just a story. The real part is that all I did was I substituted days ki jagah maine rupees dal diya. And then it becomes real. I made an assumption that each one of us will live 80 years roughly. 90 bhi ho sakta hai, but jo bhi, matlab 80 to 90 theek hai, wo itna. So 80 years of average life, the number of days is 29,200. So that is a bank account. We got the bank account of 29,200 at the time of birth. Interest milta nahi aur badhta nahi wo. I can't earn it. I can't earn it and make it like 40,000. Impossible. So do you see my point? I got a fixed bank account, and by the time anybody realizes, I think already some amount is spent when you become that little mature or whatever. And I always say, okay, for me, maybe only limited bank account is left now. 10,000 भी है तो बहुत पता नहीं है, 5 से 10,000 के बीच में बचा है मेरे पास. I don't know how much is left, you never know, right? But the point is, it's so small, whenever I saw that number, I couldn't understand. It's so small, 29,200 rupees मैं जानबूझ के बोलता हूँ क्योंकि इतना कम लगता है. पूरी जिंदगी 29,000 रुपये में कौन बिता सकता है, पर 29,000 दिन ही मिलते हैं और वो भी बर्थ से. तो what I am trying to say is, to me that is not a negative thought, to me that is an endless inspiration कि अरे इतना कम है, जो करना है फोकस करके वो कर लेते हैं. It's too less to me. I can't imagine how can it be so less. That is first point. These are just points, these are more, well, this presentation I used for some student, but you can go through it as well. You know, everybody, each one of us knows these ideas, right? None of us brought anything to this world and cannot take anything. To me that's a very liberating statement. चलो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, मेरे पास नहीं है तो भी क्या हो गया, कोई भी नहीं ले जा सकता. मुकेश अंबानी वो बिल्डिंग नहीं ले जा सकता, या जो भी उसने कलेक्ट किया है तो वो भी नहीं ले जा सकता, मैं भी नहीं ले जा सकता. Nobody can take anything. So it's a very liberating statement, I feel, and it makes you feel that let's take some risks. Anyway, nothing is there to lose. था ही नहीं कुछ तो फिर. Anyway, all that you can see, but I always feel, and you know, I personally feel, not just for students, this statement, these kind of thoughts always make a difference to me also when I want to make choices. You have to make choices, right? Every time you keep making choices in life. I feel our choices should be more governed by what brings us happiness also. Finally, you know, there can't be any other criteria. And one more major thing. So I have actually only in this endless motivation 2 main things to say. One is life is too short. It's too short. Like I tell young people, there are some young people at the back. No, can any of you imagine being 50-year-old? None of them will agree or think that they will be 50. They will think they are going to remain young. They will not be 50. Only people like us are all, you know, oldies and whatever. But from being 20 years to becoming 50, it takes only 11,000 days. 11,000 दिन बाद आप 50 के होगे ही होगे, कुछ कर नहीं सकते. And you know, there are all these terms, right? When I became 40, I realized 40. अब तो गया, मतलब वो जो भी था, you know, convincing yourself that you are young. Although people invent new statements, 40 is new 16. They say अच्छा लगने के लिए कि मैं 16 का हूँ, 40 के होके आप नहीं हो सकते. You can't defeat biology. You can keep saying, but I agree. There are those other spirit. You know, age is not about years or it's about state of mind. Agreed. But all I am saying is, yes, my joints have some issue or whatever. You know, what do? I can't become that. So better do. Life is too short. Second thing is, I personally feel, and I have seen that impact in my life, that if you have a purpose for yourself in life, maybe that's one of the biggest innovation you can do first. Do you have a purpose? So that's what I say. You can maximize your potential in anything, let it be innovation, if you find a purpose for your life. If you don't have a purpose for your life, then that short span will just go away. You have to have a purpose. And there are lots of beautiful examples. If you are an artist tendency person, I can explain to you that way. Like sometimes I try to do some painting and I have all the colors, everything, you know, and I am sitting there, look, if I didn't have a theme for the painting, kya banaun main? So it's like saying your life is your painting, but if you don't have a purpose, you don't have a theme, so what will you paint for your life? Random strokes. Maybe you will create modern art और वहाँ एक line खींची हुई है, लोग कहते हैं ये क्या है? So you see sometimes, like I can't figure out sometimes. So, or if you are a mechanical engineering person, it's very common, you know, you will go to Tata Center lab, Zubin or whoever will take you and you say, oh, here are all the tools. But if I don't have a idea in my mind, the tools are of no use. Money, everything, you know, our position, everything is only just a tool. If I don't have a purpose, I'm stuck. So, some Japanese people have put this, you know, this is, you can see now in newspapers everywhere, you know, it's being popularized. What is your ikigai? And I say that's the same thing, purpose. It should be overlap of what you love to do, what the world needs, what you can be paid for and what you're good at. Very difficult to find. Most people will end up finding overlap of 2. you're lucky if you have found overlap of 2. 4 ka overlap, so you have to be extremely lucky. But I think purpose of life, finding the purpose of life will really make your life so effective. And I personally feel, I can tell you more later if you like, I don't have time, but for me that thing happened without the words. I didn't have the words purpose of life, but it hit me around when I was doing my PhD, somewhere around 26, 27, and from that time this is what I feel happens if you figure out the purpose. You are happy, so to say. I mean, even if you become sad, you do become sad, but you come out faster. You say, okay, there is a purpose which I am after. You don't feel you run out of energy, don't feel bored or anything. That word is not there with you. And for some reason, despite all this negative news, you still can find some beauty in this world. I mean, sometimes you feel, right, you pick up the newspaper and say, arey, kya hai? Every day it's just, all that, but you can still find the world beautiful and everything starts to appear connected. Or I sometimes use this analogy which I like, that you are driving a car and you know where you want to go. That's the purpose, so to say. You know where you want to go, but there are lots of routes that you can take. So then what you say, since I know I want to go there, let me try a route which looks, my journey also is interesting, so I will take a route there. And you are seeing this through your windshield is always clear, no dust deposits, rain doesn't affect, and you don't have a wiper also. There is nothing there, but windshield is always clean. So you can always see your destination and the route. That's like having a purpose of life. So you are just always, so clear about things. How do I know the purpose of life? I think it came to me more or less from meeting people, thinking and discussions and all, and it just sort of comes one day. Here is some other thing, but maybe this is just talking about, from some book on Dalai Lama, but it talks about people, every person wants to feel useful in their life. And this was surveys, this is data came out of surveys in the Western world, okay, so this is not even India. Look at it, it says we all need to be needed. It's an interesting statement. Everybody needs to be needed, and then you feel good. And they have linked to your, also your lifespan and all that. Other thing, here, selflessness and joy are intertwined, more we are one with the rest of humanity. And they did it with the developed world. So it's a universal thing basically. It's nothing to do with India. I saw this somewhere. So I already told you what time. Right? All these people, I think you know most of them. I feel the reason I put these names is not to talk about them anything else, except I think all of them figured out somewhere in their life, maybe early on, what the purpose was. They figured out the purpose, and that is why they went there. If they didn't have a purpose, you can just kind of be somewhere. Anyway, I'll stop. This is what it is. So if you have any quick question or comment. Like I said, my talk is more generic, and then you will start going into the process of innovation now. Anything? Anybody has anything? I hope if you got something out of it, I hope you can make your choices a little,
Tinkering again, more igniting.
Sorry?
More igniting actually.
We need to do that, each one of us at an individual level. Sometime it has to happen. Like I told you, very practical thing I told you, right? That I have told now, I am not saying right from the beginning of my career, I have been teaching in IITs for 20 plus years, and now I have started telling my students that I said no, that I want people to come join with me for PhD if you are interested in solving a real problem which may hopefully turn into a product. Not so interested, I tell them, if you don't, you may not have any publications if you work with me. Are you okay with that? So they have to make a decision. So I am involved, my students have 3 companies in which I am involved. There is one called Ant Ceramics, which makes ceramics and furnaces. There is another company we have in Indore which is called DigiDent. They are into dentistry, so we make dental products there, meaning the customers are doctors. Third thing is where we are doing some biomedical device and some lab equipment. So there are these three things, and then there are students who are working on silver paste kind of product. We are trying, but I can be honest with this, we don't have no innovation yet. I think we are in the stage where we first want to do things. Maybe our companies want to generate some revenue, and someday they will reach when they have money. Because you saw, na, 90,000 crores Samsung spends. What do we spend? Nothing. Innovation may come someday. It's not there yet. We are just trying to do things maybe which we can make the best in India, maybe do some import substitution right now. Very ordinary stuff. But maybe that is needed. A lot of people say Japan in the early years was simply imitating. But imitation, China, right? Everybody said imitation, but now innovation is coming from there. So imitation probably will lead to innovation. Doesn't sound very good, but, but that's what it is. I didn't let you speak, sorry.
You can always interact with the writer if you think that you would like to look at his team and see what work
Yes,
he does.
I'm
You're very
around.
welcome. Yes, you're very welcome. We can organize that. Justin, if you can just read that is Justin. He'll try and organize visits and whatever we plan in case you want to visit them, speak to him, speak to his team. We'll be more than happy. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Bhalgar. This presentation is going to be shared with each one of you, so it will all be there. We are going to take a break now, 10 minutes, because we have to start our session at 11. Chai, coffee is served on the first floor of this building.